Hi, and welcome to the Do Something Indie Show. Tonight we have a final episode of our four-part series on community gardening. And tonight we have Jonathan Lawler, the punk rock farmer. And he is out in Greenfield, and he has a fairly decently sized farm, and also he has other locations, and he helps other people get their gardening going. And there's a project in the Brightwood area, which is next to the Hank Powell Garden on Yandy Street, that's getting ready to get going, and it looks like they're going to have about 2 acres to work with there. And it's sort of exciting because I think community gardening is a way for the community to get out and do something. You know what I say? I like to see 3 activities in every neighborhood minimum. So I don't want to hear people walking around saying, hey, there's nothing to do. Well, we have stuff to do, and that's called gardening. And I like Jonathan because he's got a way to keep from weeding. You know, I mentioned weeding in every one of my other videos in this series, but he's been around a while, and he knows a lot of tricks, works on his own stuff. So let's take a look at this interview I did today, and you'll find out he's a little more famous than just the Do Something Indie Show. In fact, he's a lot more famous than that. So have a look. Tell me what you think.
This is John Schmitz with Do Something Indie, and I'm just a little bit outside of Indianapolis today, out in Greenfield, Indiana, and I have a guest with me today who is the punk rock farmer. Is that adequate description?
Yeah.
And what is your real name?
Jonathan Lawler.
And you've been doing farming for quite a while. Give us some background on how you got into farming and what it means to you.
Well, my grandfather was a produce farmer. He raised produce in southern Johnson County, and it was something that I never thought I'd go into personally. My dad did it a little bit, but not to the scale my grandfather did it. My dad went into the trucking side because my other family's in trucking, so we both kind of I went into trucking as well. I've worked for my father-in-law. He's on a big commodity farm growing corn and soybeans and wheat and working cattle. In about 2009, me and my wife acquired a couple acres and started just kind of doing it again as a hobby, the way, as a hobby. And we grew it. We grew acreage every year. Now we farm 113 acres in produce. So.
It went from being a hobby to something. And
well, I mean, I'm glad I was able to go back to what my grandfather did, and I appreciated that. So.
Yeah, and that's how we get in there. You start doing something and you just expand it. And we're out here, and you have this site. This is just one of your sites.
Mm-hmm.
How many acres do you have here?
46.
46, and it's pretty much. What do you got left to plant
Here?
Yeah.
Nothing.
I think you pretty much got to plant it up. And I'm going to show some pictures of these rows. And it's quite impressive on how the system is and what you've done here. And it's been a trying spring, hasn't it, with frost and rain and
the spring started to act like a really good spring, and then it turned cold. We had some melons in the ground. We were able to save those, but we lost about 3,000 tomato plants that were under high tunnels. The wind also attributed to that by lifting low tunnels. So yeah, it's
just life of a farmer. I mean, it's always
it's better than it was last year because we weren't even planting until like the end of May. We were still planting tomatoes in like the first week of June.
Yeah,
so.
it was just cold, wet, and for an example, my grapes were a month behind the year before on harvest. So we were basically, what would you say, a month behind?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know. This year, I mean, we're early on some stuff and we're late on other things. So
Yeah, it's like lettuce is.
Yeah.
It's just going to start getting too hot.
Well, all my cabbage got drilled, and I thought it was dead, and it ended up coming back. But yeah, I mean, we had about 3,000 heads of.
We got some wood carver bees attacking us here. That's the other thing about us city folk coming out here into the wild and seeing this. But so where does most of your you have some stuff here that you grow for people, and then you help other people in areas. And I know you're helping out with some urban gardens near the Yandees.
Yeah, well, so Edna Martin Christian Center, we're doing our Henry Blair concept there. That's you almost need 2 acres to get it to work, which 2 acres can be hard to come by in Indianapolis, but they had it. I'm sure there's churches that have it that we could start implementing it in other places, but that's 120,000 pounds of produce grown on 2 acres.
So that's a Henry what concept?
Henry Blair concept.
Henry Blair. Now tell us a little bit about what that is.
So Henry Blair he was a farmer, a black farmer in 1834. He was not a slave. And he actually, history remembers him as the second black man to get a patent, but actually he invented the modern mechanical corn planter. That was what the patent was on, and that's just kind of glazed over. So it went from taking 2 weeks and 20 guys to plant 10 acres of corn to him and his horse doing it in a day.
And
so
that's what we call an advantage.
Absolutely. So
yeah, I apologize for them. Both of our phones were going off here, and we got Bluetooth and everything else. But we're to do something, which is the name of our show.
Right.
We're busy, right? We're busy,
absolutely.
and this is your time, and I appreciate you taking that time to do this, because this is rounding out our urban garden series, and why not have the granddaddy of the urban gardening out here for the final show. And speaking of granddaddy shows, now you were recently on Mike Rowe's show and featured on that. Now I haven't seen that show yet, but I'd like to. Where can I see that?
That can be seen on Facebook Watch. Facebook Watch has that show. It's the episode's called, which it was just nominated for an Emmy.
Of course it was. I mean, you're a Hoosier, and people love Hoosiers.
It's called The Farmer Feeding the City.
Farmer Feeding the City.
And then if you want to see other stuff or other work, I mean, we had, if you go to Tyson Foods, I'm one of Tyson Foods' Hunger Heroes, and you can kind of see the videos and how they followed us. It just kind of gives you all different aspects of what we do, as we are rural farmers. We don't consider ourselves urban farmers, but we like to
But
help.
you help urban, yeah.
Absolutely.
We bring that rural out there, yeah, because we are rural. We're out here north of Greenfield, it looks like, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
So
about as close as we have a major growing operation is in Cumberland, which we actually have that right on the Hancock County, Marion County line. So
you're a busy man doing things about getting people excited about gardening, and I got to say, you got quite an operation out here, and I'm going to have some pictures of what's going on out here. And just interesting. I mean, it's just interesting because I love growing stuff. It's fun planting it and watching it grow. It's probably a little different when your livelihood, or when there's more on the line if somebody's going to go starve. I mean, I have my garden just so I can have fresh stuff.
Well, like I try to tell people, I mean, I have people that like write into the Punk Rock Farmer or to Brandywine Creek Farms. They ask a lot of gardening questions, and I tell people there's certain things that, it's cool to stay away from in your garden. I had one person that said, hey, I want to grow seedless watermelons, in my garden. And, that can be done, but there is a science to seedless melon growing.
I can't even grow a regular watermelon.
Yeah, and it's something that I perfected over the last 10 years of doing. And literally I spent, the winter of 2017 reading, traveling to farms in Florida, figuring out how you do seedless
talking to watermelons. I mean, they're good listeners, but
they
don't say much.
Yeah.
So do you sell your produce at a stand anywhere, or is it mostly you send it?
No. So, we do have a couple of independent contracts with distributors, and then of course, Healthy Harvest Market is the grocery store that's owned by Brandywine Creek Farms that will have our produce. Cleo's Bodega takes a lot of our produce. Especially on the affordable access side, where we're selling tomatoes and cucumbers and watermelons for, pennies on the dollar. That's important that those go to the right stores, not a store that's going to see our pricing,
pimp you out.
See our pricing and go, oh, I'll take all of that.
And then
they mark it way up to make a huge profit margin on it.
Yeah, so. And for all you folks that are Do Something India indie people from the very beginning. Actually, Jonathan was the first Do Something Indie show 28 episodes ago, and I'll have the trailer on this because it was pretty a short interview.
Yeah.
You were out at the Healthy Harvest Market
yeah.
out at Pogue's Run, the old Pogue's Run. Yep. I'm gonna put this on the backside of this, and you can watch that interview about what's going on there. So, give us an update.
So, I mean, we've struggled through COVID. I can tell you that. We had to shut down our deli for a while because we weren't comfortable with. We were not comfortable at all with serving, handling stuff. Now that we've gotten some further information from, like the Marion County Board of Health as well as other people in the medical field, we went back to carry out. We have a bakery there. The pies there
so the pies didn't get shut down.
No, the pies never got shut down. The pies, I would put those against, I mean, nothing against city people, but all the pie shops in Indianapolis are ran by city folks, and so
we don't know nothing about no pie, do they?
We brought a country girl out into the city to have her make the pies, and man, people are going crazy for them.
So what's your hours out there? And this is at 10th and Rural. Am I right on that?
It's close to 10th and Rural. 10th and Rural, a little bit east.
A little bit east of there.
So our hours. So we're getting ready to go to longer hours. That we open at 10 and we close at 6. But I think after this week we're going from 9 to 7, and we're going to start doing some breakfast items. And then produce. I mean, we've harvested a little bit of broccoli. We're getting ready to harvest some chard. I should have our melons in there by the first week of July.
The seedless ones too, right?
Seedless, yeah. We'll have seedless and seeded. I grow a variety of melons. My commercial melons I grow are Kingman and Joyrides. The Joyrides are big seeded, and the Kingmans are big but just perfectly round seedless. And then, I'm growing some Crimson Sweets, some Charleston Grays, which is by far, it's also known as a Rattlesnake Melon. It's one of the best watermelons there are. So if you're not.
So what was that one? I wanted the rattlesnake one.
Yeah, it's some people call it. I mean, some people refer to it as a Georgia rattlesnake.
Because you got to go fight the rattlesnakes to pick it.
No, it's because of the stripes on it.
Oh, okay, good. Because I'd rather see the stripes there and not on a snake.
Those get really big. They're okay tasting, but the Charleston Grays which is another rattlesnake variety, is
pretty good. Probably
the best watermelon there is as far as.
All right, so I'm gathering here from this conversation that watermelon is what you.
So watermelon
is one of your things.
Melons. So cucurbits, which are watermelons and cucumbers, zucchini. That's what I'm really good at growing. I mean, I can grow tomato. I mean, I have 6,000 tomatoes planted up at the front, and we're planting another couple thousand in the next couple days.
People need tomatoes, right?
Yeah, people need tomatoes. If you're a home gardener, you probably don't need tomatoes. Though I do get asked questions a lot. I mean, anybody that wants to ask me their personal gardening questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. I see your post on Facebook all the time that shows where you're claiming a squirrel or a deer is eating your tomatoes, and it is not a squirrel or a deer. Nope, it's a hornworm doing it, but they always claim it's squirrels or deer. I don't think
I know what you're talking about. It's like tomato worm, or they call it tobacco worm.
Yeah, So in Indiana, they're mostly tobacco worms. I think people are confused. They don't realize that something that small
can eat that much. They get going, and I do have a possum. I got a possum in mine that loves. I just let him eat one. I mean, because they're going to get theirs. But those tomato worms, they'll flat start chewing them up.
So and
little 7 slows them down, though, doesn't it?
7. Well, you can use 7 or BT or spinosad. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff.
You got something for bugs, don't you?
Oh yeah, spinosad is great because it doesn't hurt our bees. As you can see, I mean, I use chemicals on my farm, and
these bees are not afraid of this because they're trying to get us.
You don't see a lack of wildlife here or insect life. So,
that's how I met you. I asked questions online. I think I asked about squash something or pumpkins. Pumpkins. That were when my pumpkins got going. right at the last frost. So I had a bunch of green ones.
Yeah.
But I planted them in August.
I hate growing pumpkins. They catch a disease if you look at them sideways.
Yeah, so. He was most helpful. Everything he told me was right on, spot on. So I'm going to have all the information for now. Hopefully you won't get bombarded with a bunch of questions, but maybe I hope so. Yeah.
I mean, people can. We're very transparent too. People want to come to the farm and see how we do things, see how. I mean, being a conventional farmer, there's a lot of. I read a lot of weird stuff about what we supposedly do. We'll show you what we do. I mean,
then you try it and see how hard it is. That's what.
Yeah, we actually use less chemicals if we can. I mean, we use an integrated pest management system. Like right now, the farm's extremely weedy because we're going as long as we can so that we only have to spray once or twice. So I mean that's just part of
it.
I mean, I don't wake up in the morning and say, what do I get to spray today? So chemicals are expensive.
Yeah, they're expensive, and it's people like organic, and if you can keep off of the chemicals, that's great.
Well, and what I tell people is, if you have a garden, it should be organic. You have no business or reason. I mean, go out there and pick the tomato worms off if you want to. I mean, that's not that hard.
But you can't pick the tomato worms off of 6,000 plants.
No. Nor, I mean, I have at this location we have almost 90,000 watermelon plants that are seeded in the ground, and then I forget how many seedless, and then that's not counting cantaloupe. We can't. I mean, that's very hard to do organically.
Yeah.
I mean,
when you go on a large scale, you have to be large scale.
Right.
It's just the nature of the beast.
Absolutely.
But I could sit here and talk to you for 2 more hours about this. I appreciate you taking the time out because this is a busy time.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have some pictures on here of the farm, and check it out online. It's fascinating. And this man right here has spent a lifetime of perfecting the seedless watermelon.
Yeah.
I mean, if that in itself is quite impressive.
I have my own tomato variety that I bred too. If it turns out this year,
now you're just showing
off. It's like 5 years I've been working on it. So if it turns out this year, I'll be unveiling that too.
Please, I know you got Mike Rowe and all those big time people, but have this little small market guy come out and do a taste test on this, and I'll give you what I think about it. I'm not a real tomato guy, but I can taste.
Well, it's a tomato that can be used as a slicing tomato, a canning tomato, a juicing tomato, a salad tomato. It's a mix of. I'll tell you that it's aroma. It's got. And it'll look odd. It won't even look like.
I don't care what it looks like. I want to taste, baby, taste.
Absolutely.
So wow, that's exciting. So I look forward to coming back out, and maybe I'll get out here for more of the harvest time of the season, and you could be our first 3-peat on the Do Something Indie. Now I've had 2-peats.
Okay.
And repeat and all those peats, but you could be like what was that, Chicago Bulls and the 3-peat?
Yeah, the 3-peat.
That'd be you.
Yep.
So, hey, there you go. Out here in Greenfield, Indiana, the punk rock farmer, Jonathan Lawler. And, he's got it going on. I love watching things grow, and I'm going to really enjoy taking some pictures and check out his stuff.
So if you love to watch things grow, let's get out there and plant some gardens. And make sure you ask the punk rock farmer for any kind of issues you have, because I'm telling you what, he's probably run into it. It seems like he's been around the block a few times. Check out all the links. And I got a couple other interviews that I'm going to put on the backside of this that you can check out. And you can see that, hey, this guy's serious. And he's doing good things. So take a look at it. Check out the links. Like us, follow us, share us. See you next time on the Do Something Indie Show, Wednesday at 8 p.m. Well, now here's a little bonus Do Something Indie Show. This is actually the first Do Something show way back in November of last year. And I just thought I would put it on here because Jonathan had been on the show before, and he was out there at the old Pogues Run. And I thought I would, add this to the video. And he was the first guy on the show. It was supposed to be Josh Bach and Harrison Painter of Amplify Indie, but this opportunity came up, so I jumped in and got that. So, hey, enjoy this bonus Do Something Indie show.
Hi, this is John Schmitz from Do Something Indy. This is a show that focuses on good things that are going on in our city of Indianapolis. And I know what you're thinking right now, that hey, it's not December 4th. Where's Josh Bach? Where's Harrison Painter from Amplify Indy? Oh, well, they're not going to be the first show because I got an opportunity to go out and interview Jonathan Lawler today. He's a guy that's starting a grocery store in a food desert. You hear about that a lot these days. And so I thought, hey, I'll go out and I'll have a sit down with him and see what's up. So I loaded up my gear and went out to the east side. And hey, let's have a look and see what I have. Hi, this is John Schmitz for Do Something Indy, and we're here at the brand new Harvest, what is it?
Healthy Harvest Market at Brookside.
Healthy Harvest Market at Brookside. And this used to be the formerly Pogues Run
Correct.
Grocery.
Correct.
And I'm here with Jonathan Lawler. And I want him to tell you a little bit about his background, and we're going to talk about the market.
So my background is in logistics and agriculture. So something that can help with food insecurity. My skill set, anyway, can help grow the food as well as get the food to where it needs to go.
Okay, so what made you get involved in this particular location?
I was just driving by one day and I knew that it used to be Pogues Run, and on a whim I called the guy that was leasing it, and he gave me a tour of the entire building, and I seen that it could be utilized as not just a retail grocer, but also as a place for community partners to teach entrepreneurial skills, and also to act as a very small food hub for the time being.
Yeah, because I'm looking around here, and you have like a gathering area. It looks like it's just more than a place to go get some food.
Right.
So this is sort of, you've been doing this around the city for a while, and you have a farm, right? And that's Brandywine Farms?
Brandywine Creek Farms.
Yeah.
We're a large-scale produce farm. We farm 3 locations currently that are considered large-scale, and then we have a couple urban farm projects that we also do.
Okay, that's great. And one of the things that we do is community gardens, and I believe we've sort of crossed paths in that arena. And I'll have some more people on about community gardens. Now, recently you had an article in the Star, and it talked about your project here, and that you had a celebrity from nationwide celebrity come in, Mike
Right.
Rowe. Can you give us a little background on that?
Yeah, so I've been in a couple documentaries in the past about agriculture. That's what we were presented, that it was a documentary about agriculture. And on the second to last day of filming, they surprised us with Mike Rowe showing up at our farm at 8 o'clock in the morning. So
Is that like scramble?
yeah, well, no, I mean, I was kind of, I was kind of in a state of shock because I wasn't expecting.
Is this guy
Yeah,
real?
yeah.
Yeah, he does he dirty jobs
Dirty
and all
jobs,
that. So
Pay It Forward, and he's done the Deadliest Catch. So
yeah, Deadliest Catch. Yeah, I always he's a blue collar guy.
Oh,
So
absolutely,
like
yeah,
us. I mean,
yeah.
I'm a bricklayer and I've owned a sewer utility, so I know a little bit about dirty jobs. And farming's not for the meek.
Right.
So. Give me an idea of what you actually grow at your farm, and that what you'll be able to bring into the city for the folks to come get.
So the actual stuff that we grow in season will be watermelons, bell peppers, tomatoes, cucumbers, and then we'll grow some niche products here, kale, collards, things that we don't grow to a large scale. And of course, sweet corn. Sweet corn's a big one for us.
Oh yeah, I got some of that
yeah.
up there at one of the places you're at. You had
Yeah.
a tractor there with a whole bucket full
Right,
of corn, and it's
right,
like,
right.
oh, okay, this is good.
Yeah.
So when do you think you're going to have this open? Because you're still in the building stage right now, right?
Yeah, so we're doing a soft open this Saturday, and then it's already operating as a food hub, but we'll do a soft opening and let the community see it, see what other hurdles we need to jump through, but letting the community know that we are here for them That's very important to us.
Yeah, that's one of the things that Do Something Indy is trying to promote the good things in our communities, and I really think this is going to be a well-received thing. And I know your work ethic, and I know that you're a guy that stays on top of things. So it's good to see good people doing good things for the community to be a good example.
I hope so. I hope others take up the same cause. We need like 50 of these in Indianapolis.
Yes, we do. And so, hey, there's your calling right there. Get into it. Well, Jonathan, I appreciate you taking some time to sit down with me and come out here Saturday. What's the times?
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock till?
Till 7.
Till 10:30?
Yeah,
till 7.
Till 7.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
it's soft opening. So, all right, well, there you have it. We're out here at 10th and Rural, just a little bit east.
Yeah,
just a little bit east.
28 East 10th Street. So.
And I'll put that information up on this feature, and also I'll have some other pictures here of the area, so you'll have an idea. But hey, thanks for tuning into this edition, and we're going to try to get this out ASAP so you can get over here on Saturday, because I know Black Friday you're going to be tired from that.
Yep.
So now we've got Small Business Saturday.
Yep.
And here we go.
Yep.
So hey, thanks. Thanks a lot, Jonathan.
Thanks.
Well, there you have it. I want to say thanks to Jonathan Lawler for taking time out to tell us about his project and try to get out there this Saturday to see what he's up to. And also, hey, tell your friends to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Do Something Indie, as well as like our page on Facebook. So, I don't want to disappoint you with not having a bad dad joke. So, let's see. Since it's farming, let me tell you this one. You know, the other day I had a cornfield following me around. I mean, it was really getting sort of scary. You know what? Turned out to be a bunch of stalkers. Hey, sorry. So tune in to our next show. I'm sure you'll enjoy our next episode. Thanks. As you can see from the first show, we've made a few improvements over the last half year we've been doing the show. And now I'm going to show you some pictures of the farm with a few little explanations of what's going on, and then we'll close it out. So thanks for watching.